So I've always struggled with a default setting to being negative, especially when we're looking at the markets. Josh, you and I got into the business in the same time. We went through the internet bubble. We went through the great financial crisis, the COVID crisis. And in your new book, you say that pessimism is intellectually seductive and the arguments always sound smarter, especially when they dovetail into your own worries. That's always hit home for me and has personally, frankly, cost me money over the years. Josh, you've been on TV for so long. That is not your default setting. How have you kept such an optimistic mindset, and how do you keep that mindset in your clients?
Well, I think when you're around long enough, it gets easier. So there's this there's this stereotype of the typical perma bear curmudgeon, and it's usually somebody who's an older person, and that's weird to me because what I find when I talk to my clients or I talk to older successful people, they're all optimists. So it's like this really weird thing where we think that people get more negative when they get older, and that's not really true. It's just that we have a few very prominent examples of people who probably should have retired a long time ago, or people who effectively are retired but nobody bothered to tell them. So you get these guys, it's always guys, they're like former chief economist for some like Canadian gold investment bank or whatever, and effectively they're retired. They don't have that job anymore, but they're still talking their stuff on the web, like for anyone who will listen, infecting people with like their subscription product or whatever. Those people are rare. When you're out in the world and not on the internet and you meet older people who have succeeded, none of them are pessimists. It's the weirdest thing on earth. Like, imagine you get invited to someone's house in the Hamptons or somebody's beautiful luxury apartment in Manhattan or Miami or some like star-studded celebrity party in the Hollywood Hills. You walk around, you meet people who are in their 50s and 60s, people who have really made it. None of them are pessimists. It's only on the internet, and it's this weird thing that it's like only in Wall Street do you find these freaks. So it's not hard for me to stay optimistic because what I do is I look at these people and I say like, God, if I ever turn into that, take away my my login to my blog. Like, I don't want to talk anymore if that's the way I come off. So look, I'm sarcastic. I'm from New York. I'm sardonic. I'm a little bit of a cynic. I'm not one of these people that just like automatically wakes up every day, jumps out of bed, and is like, "Ooh, the sun is shining." But when it comes to investing, how could you not believe that things are going to get better 5 years from now, 10 years? What, like, have you been living in a cave? Look around. It's not hard to understand that bad things happen, but over time, the good things, the positive developments win out. So that's just kind of where I am, and people can look. I'll give you a test, Jay. You could do this right now. Anybody watching could do this. Go on Twitter or LinkedIn and say, you know what? Actually, I'm pretty upbeat about 2025. I think everything's gonna be fine. and then just ghost, and then come back a day later and see what the comments are.
You know what I'll do, Josh?
Complacent.
Yep.
This time it's different. It's weird to me. I don't want to be around people like that. Is the truth. So it's really easy. You spot them and you go out of your way to not be anything like them.
You know what I'll do, Josh? Before this episode broadcast, I'll do that, and I'll link back to it, and we'll see what kind of trash we get in the comment section.
I'm gonna troll. I'm gonna troll you though.
I tell you, another quote you had in that section that stood out to me, who does have to try to not be negative, is you said being optimistic all the time is difficult, but having any other disposition as a default setting makes little sense when you're investing for a future far out in front of us. For financial advisors, in your experience, keeping clients optimistic is a challenge, especially in periods like where we sit today, right before the election. How do you work with your clients to keep them optimistic?
All right. So the cheat code is we are really selective about who our clients are. And we are not like randomly like meeting people. We're not like heavily reliant on some sort of I'm like influential in my church or my temple, and therefore all my clients are coming to me. That like our people come to us because they agree with our philosophy. So they're self-selecting before we even say one word to them because they're fans. And you can't be a fan of ours and be like like a doom person, because it's not what we do. So that's the cheat code. We're starting off talking to the right people. We talk to people that are very skeptical about the government and big tech, and of course they have things that they're worried about, and they think about the Middle East and Ukraine and the proliferation of nuclear weapons, and what if there's another pandemic. They're not stupid, but they have this bigger understanding, which is that the market is really good at pricing in these risks. And by the time everyone identifies something as a risk, it's probably already on its way to being transmogrified into more of an opportunity. And our clients get that. And that's kind of, if that's not fully their mindset coming in, ultimately it'll become their mindset as a result of having prolonged exposure to us. And that's kind of like a good thing. So I don't have to deal with people who think the world is going to end tomorrow, because those aren't the people that call me. So we're lucky in that way, but also it's like sort of by design at this point.
Yeah. Advisors, he nailed it. The easy cheat code is don't onboard those types of clients. They just make your life difficult.
You can't help them, and you might take pity. You might want to help them. Like, of course, who wouldn't? Like somebody that just the S&P 500 has just compounded at 14% over the last 15 years. You could live another 50 years and never see a stretch of time like this again. See how many people spent this period of time in a fallout shelter financially? Now you come across these people and they're like, all right, well, what do I do now? Oh my God, I don't I don't know. But you do want to help, and you want to give them something constructive. It's just have they really changed? Or at the first 10% correction in the market, is that the person that's like blowing up your phone? Get me out! How could you do this to me? Blah blah blah. Right?
Yep.
So it's really hard to help those people, even if you want to. And of course, every financial planner worth their salt would. But some people reform. So we've onboarded clients that left like the Peter Schiff cult, or left the Mark Faber cult. Remember that guy, Doom, Gloom, and Boom Report?
Yep.
He had a huge following before he went on TV and said actually slavery was good. So we've met these people along the way. It's me, it's Barry Ritholtz. Like, we've spoken to thousands of people that were fleeing one cult or another. And some of them, they do, like, they figure it out and they change. But a lot of them, it's just like, I'm going to onboard you with the Dow at 45,000. And when we're at 36,000, you're going to tell me you're suicidal. And can I get you through that moment? I don't know.
That's right.
I don't know. So you got to start with talking to the right people.